Hi everyone! In today's video, we are going on an Iron Butt Association Saddle Sore 1000 ride. This is a long-distance motorcycle riding challenge, where we will ride at least 1,000 miles in under 24 hours. This is our first gas stop, showing our time and mileage to begin the ride. We have to document each gas stop along the way with receipts and photos of each of our odometers. I will explain this more later on. Our official start time was 5:19 a.m. Central Daylight Savings Time in Frederick, Oklahoma. We will be crossing a few time zones along the way, so I'll be sure to specify each time we do. We will be starting in southwest Oklahoma and ending close to Las Vegas, Nevada, with most of our time spent going west on I-40. We are starting to see a bit of the sunrise here, but not much else, so I'll skip ahead to some better scenery. Here we go. Well, maybe not much better scenery. However, it is better than complete darkness, am I right? I'm only joking. I grew up in this area and can appreciate the plains of Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle. This is somewhere between Duke and Hollis, Oklahoma. A lot of this land is used in farming. They are between crops right now. Most of the wheat has been harvested and it's too early for cotton. We drive by a couple of irrigation systems, grain silos, and some hay bales. I'm not much of a morning person, so I don't believe I have ever been on a bike early enough to watch a sunrise. Plenty of sunsets, but never a sunrise. And today, we will watch both. This area is pretty populated with white-tailed deer, so I'm glad we can see a little better now. And that's one state down. We made it to Texas at 6:42 a.m. You can see we are pretty weighted down with gear, which isn't necessarily recommended for one of these rides. This was the start of our trip that we take every year, just Curtis and myself. We camp most of the time on these trips, so that's what most of this gear is. Camping gear and homemade freeze-dried meals. We are running cameras on both bikes. An upgrade to any previous videos. However, I need to find a new way to mount mine. It proved impossible to keep the bug scrubbed off my windshield, and therefore my footage wasn't the best. Speaking of what we carry on our bikes while on a long ride, we carry 30-ounce water bottles that we can use while we are riding, which we typically keep filled with water or electrolytes. It's hard to tell how much we are sweating since the air dries it so quickly. Getting a muscle cramp while riding is never a good thing, so we try to stay hydrated. We also keep beef jerky that is easily accessible that we can eat when we stop for gas. We really don't have time to stop long on each gas stop. Additionally, for this ride, we both have to get gas separately for documentation purposes. For this trip, we planned stops every 80 to 120 miles for fuel, which worked out to be about every hour to hour and a half. After this trip, we have decided we can probably stretch that out to about every 120 to 150 miles between stops. When planning this trip, we weren't sure what kind of economy we would be getting since we were driving interstate speeds and the bikes were fully loaded. The Fatboys still managed around 40 miles per gallon each, which isn't far from their normal economy. So, what exactly is this ride all about, and who is this association we are riding for? Well, the Iron Butt Association is dedicated to safe, long-distance motorcycle riding. They have over 84,000 members all over the globe. They are based in the United States, although they recognize and certify long-distance rides everywhere. "The world is our playground" is a popular slogan that they use. The name was established to imply that the person who completes a ride certification must be tough as nails or immune to pain when it comes to long-distance riding. By documenting our ride through gas receipts, pictures of our odometers, as well as a picture of our travel route, we can then send all this information into the association for approval. Once approved, we will each get our membership codes, which allow us access to their online store, as well as stickers and patches to display for other riders to see. It comes down to bragging rights, really. However, it also makes a good excuse to see the world from a motorcycle. The ride that we are on, the Saddle Sore, is the smallest certified ride to qualify for membership. They have other certifications that include higher mileage rides with different time frames, as well as a coast-to-coast ride, and a ride to travel all 48 contiguous states in only 10 days. If you are interested in more information, or interested in being a member, I'll include their website in the description of this video. After our stop in Amarillo, we will be on I-40 all the way to Kingman, Arizona. I have to say the worst part of this ride was the wind. We were expecting this, at least while we crossed Texas, but we battled high winds this whole trip, not just this first day. Most locals we talked to commented on how unusual the wind had been. At least the weather held, and we didn't have any rain or extreme cold. We see some absolutely beautiful and amusing sights while on the road. This truck gave us a pretty good laugh. We are fans of the Lonesome Dove series, both movies and books. It's not uncommon for us to listen to the audiobooks while on these trips. So, if you know, and I'll leave it at that. That's one more state behind us. We arrived in New Mexico at 8:39 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. This is our first time zone change. I wanted to get a quick video at every state line, but this one and Texas were the only two I managed. We made a long stop for breakfast at Russel's Travel Center in Glenroe, New Mexico. This is one of our favorite stops anytime we are in New Mexico. Russel's was modeled after a historic Route 66 truck stop, including a diner that serves a pretty good breakfast. But that's not my favorite part. Inside this truck stop is a car museum with a lot of vehicles and memorabilia dating back to the heydays of Route 66. From past conversations, we gathered that all of these cars are owned by the same person, who purchased them with the sole purpose of displaying them in this museum. I go through this museum pretty quickly, so if you see something you want to look at longer, feel free to pause the video. We enjoyed our stop, but it's time to make some more miles. We did get into a little bit of construction on I-40. This was the only spot, and it wasn't bad at all. We are starting to get into the mountains a little here. These next few shots were my favorite parts while going through New Mexico. The clouds in the last few shots were really impressive and beautiful. They almost look fake, but I promise they're real. Goodbye, New Mexico, and hello, Arizona. We crossed into Arizona at 3:11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We didn't cross another time zone, but Arizona doesn't follow daylight savings time, so this time of year they are an hour behind New Mexico. You might have noticed that we spent more time in New Mexico. Other than our stop at Russel's, this was not the plan. We lost a lot of time, and looking back, we think we were taking too long at each gas stop. We had to cut back on our time from here on out. Back to gas and goes. We have only been in Arizona once before. On the way there, it was dark, so we didn't get to see anything. We were not on vacation and didn't have time to stay long. It was nice to go through in the daytime. We absolutely love New Mexico, but I'm interested to see more of Arizona. We do make one small stop here in a little while, but for now, enjoy some Arizona scenery. We stopped for a few in Winslow, Arizona. Yes, we had to stand on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, although I'm not sure we were taking it easy at this point. We didn't spend long here, so I only got a short video, a few pictures, and made a quick run through the gift store for my shot glass collection. If you are not an Eagles music fan, you may not understand the significance here, but that's okay. I love all of these small Route 66 towns. We have seen almost every mile of it in Oklahoma, but not much beyond that. I hope someday to travel Route 66 in its entirety, from Chicago to California, and on motorcycle would be an added bonus. We had plans to stop for another meal in Winslow, but both of us were getting tired and just ready to make a few more miles. We only ate one meal that day. I don't recommend this, but we had our jerky that we snacked on. We both got into a groove and really didn't think about eating again. I think at this point we were ready to be at our destination and focused on putting more miles down. While riding motorcycles, it's common to experience temperature changes. This could be because it's shady or suddenly cloudy in an area. This could also be because of entering a new climate area. Sometimes driving by a creek or a pond, and even the wind coming across a green pasture, can cause a quick drop in temperature. This is one of the beautiful things about riding a motorcycle over taking a car. While going through Flagstaff, it dropped off pretty cold. From talking to people in the area, they said they still had snow on the ground a few weeks prior. Once we hit Kingman, the temperature warmed back up and it was humid. Kinda felt like we were back in Oklahoma again. Flagstaff was probably our favorite part of Arizona on this trip. The cool crispness of the air and the smell of the evergreen trees was amazing. We also went through at a wonderful time. Just look at the sun. I actually think it looks better on camera than it did in person. And now we watch the sunset. It's a reminder that even though we chase the day, time is relentless and never stands still. It's important to make the most of every day, because just like that, it's over. No matter how hard we hold on, time will always pass us by. I'm so glad we made the most of this day. To see this sunset was breathtaking. Just like this morning when we started this ride, it is getting too dark to see much, so I'll skip ahead a little bit. We reached Nevada in our final time zone at 9:37 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Not too much further was our final gas stop in Boulder City. And we finally made it. We had a total of 1,019 miles, and our time was 18 hours and 25 minutes. We chose to stay at an Airbnb instead of camping tonight. Not knowing when we would make it and how we would feel, we figured a roof and a bed was better than our tent and inflatable pads. Honestly, other than just being tired, we didn't feel too bad. And everyone said that we would never make it on the Softail style motorcycles. So, shout out to our Fatboys as well. This was our first time at an Airbnb. I was a little nervous when we booked this place because I had heard horror stories about them. I'm happy to say that I was very impressed. This little place was perfect and the host was the sweetest. Airbnb for the win. Sorry my footage was so dark through here, but I wanted to make sure y'all got to see this little place. We are not far from Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam. In our next video, we will be exploring these, plus taking an Uber to the Las Vegas Strip and Fremont Street. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Success is not failure. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill.